Good morning and welcome to YFOS 2022. You're joining us in the festival living room as we get ready for day 2 of this rather brilliant festival. I'm Jane Rice-Bowen and I'm delighted to be part of the festival team this year. This is the first event that I'm hosting, so go easy on me as I get to grips with everything, the technology and also like my words, my teeth in there. Before I bring in the rest of the team into the living room, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you out there who are tuning in. You guys have supported us through thick and thin, especially during the dark days of the pandemic. So to have you with us again this year means so much. Okay, so this morning I'm live in Skipton, which is on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales, but we've also got our artistic director, Sita Brand, on location out in Grassington, which is one of the villages in the Dales, and we're just sort of struggling slightly with her connection. But it's okay because in the green room, I've also got a very special guest. I have got Mr. Charles Tyra, who many of you will know from previous festivals, and he is going to join us as well. Hello, welcome, Charles. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. It's wonderful to see you at YFOS.
I know. And where are you in the world?
I've crossed the border. Don't tell anyone, Jane. I'm in Lancashire at the moment, in Lancaster.
Very good, very good. Well, I think we're just waiting for Sita to reconnect, but we'll sort of crack on until she turns up. So I think everybody out there is quite familiar with Crowdcast now and how it works. You can see on the right-hand side that there's chat, so you guys can say hello, tell us where you are, ask questions, and I'm going to frantically try and keep up so that I can ask any questions that the audience out there have got for you guys. So I'm going to see if I can get Sita back in. Let's see if she's going to arrive. In the chat, she says she's here too. So let's go.
Oh, the wonders of doing everything live.
I know. The modern technology as well. Where is she? It says she's on screen on here.
Can't see her.
Okay. Well, what were the things that in your experience, I need some advice, Charles, in terms of, when you've been doing this in the past, what are the things that can go wrong? Well, what was the trickiest moment?
This can go wrong. People can disappear, but I suppose because we always do, and I know you guys have done this as well, we always do tests beforehand, but obviously with Sita being on location, it sounds like you've got a little bit of a hectic day.
Yeah, we have. Well, we're all up in Grassington today, which is really exciting. I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But it's day 2, Charles, and we started yesterday literally with a bang because we did a brilliant new shadow puppet commission from a storyteller called Lois Conlon, all about Guy Fawkes and the gunpowder plot. And it was part of our Stories for Schools program. You'll remember that, and sending storytellers through the digital airwaves into schools. But it's been fantastic so far this year, and we had over 2,000 children yesterday watching this gunpowder plot storytelling session. I know you were very involved in developing the online Stories for Schools. What do you think is the value of that?
Oh, I think it's fantastic because it brings, the ambition with it when I was there, and of course still, is to bring amazing, high quality artists into schools. And I think the thing that makes it so unique is that Second Stories offers an opportunity for schools and school children to interact with the artists as well. So, there's that interactive element. There's that feeling, very much reflective in YFOS as well, that we're all watching something together live, and it's it's really, really exciting. And I've seen that the schools program's really accelerated, which is fantastic. There's so much happening now for schools, and so I hope that Settle Stories becomes a sort of a mainstay in every school in the country, because I mean that feels like the way it's going at the moment.
Well, that's kind of the ambition, really, because again, with the power of technology, being able to, stream this into schools up and down the country and actually around the world is amazing. And what we were finding as well is that we're getting loads of people who are home educators. So not just kind of school teachers logging on, but also parents who are home educating their children, and for them to be able to access this resource as well is fantastic. It's really good. Well, and last night though, we had the opening night of the festival with a panel of the world's foremost storytellers. These people just had endless books that they'd written about storytelling. They were then the professor of storytelling from here, and the resident storyteller there, and the president of this, and they were amazing. They were absolutely amazing. Did you see the event at all, Charles?
No, I'm sorry, I missed it, Jane.
Well, don't worry, because you can watch it on catch up for 48 hours after the show. So all of our events, as long as you're registered for the event as normal in Crowdcast, if you follow the link, then you can still see it for up to 48 hours afterwards. And this is great for anyone like you, who couldn't manage to make it last night, but also for anyone who's not in the same time zone. And we seem to have lots and lots of international audience members. I don't know if we've got anybody today who is from a far-flung place, but why don't you kind of pop in the chat where you're from? But Charles, from previous festivals, what do you reckon the record is for the most far-flung audience member?
Oh, the record? Well, I'm not sure, Jane, but we had people from America, we had people from India. And I mean, surely that has got to be one of the most exciting things about YFOS, is that I can't really think of another festival that brings people together from far-flung places online and really builds a sense of community, which I think is the unique thing about YFOS, to be honest. Because a couple of years ago, I remember somebody in America and somebody in the Dales making friends online. They met in the festival bar, shows. You've got this chat facility here, and it was during the COVID time, so there were more festivals that translated online as well. And these guys would go off and watch festivals together in other places as well. So they'd sort of made friends at YFOS, and then went on online little dates together elsewhere. Like, it was absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so it's very exciting, and I love that about the festival. I love the fact that you've got the bar and that you've got this chat function as well, because it helps. And especially with your theme this year, it's an opportunity really for like a meeting of minds, like that's one of the things that's really, really exciting about YFOS, I think.
So I went to my first bar last night. I'd never been to one before, and it was really interesting. And the other thing that was great was that, one of the artists kind of pitched up as well. So you could, continue that conversation from the event, which was just great. It was really good, really good. But it's not just the audiences that are worldwide, but it's also about the artists as well. We've got artists from all over the world. Last night, America was very sort of heavily represented, but I know that we've got people from New Zealand and all sorts of other places. Tomorrow's event, you're not going to believe this, Charles. This is like completely extraordinary. Sunday night, 7:00, we've got an event called From Earth to the Stars. And festival director Ben Oakry, he is going to be there. But we've also got this woman who is an astronaut. She's like a bona fide NASA astronaut, Nicole Stott, whose whole climate revelation came from, you know, her being up on the International Space Station and looking down on the Earth. And we've also got and she's an artist. She's a visual artist as well. I mean, what a phenomenal person. But we've also got this guy called Dr. Martin von Hildebrand, who will be joining us live from the Amazon.
Wow.
I know. I hope his internet connection is better and holds up more than Sita's internet connection from the middle of the Yorkshire Dales. But
well, it's normally always fine. I can't really think of any instances apart from this, Sita. Come on, what's happening? Where the internet has let us down. You know, it always seems to be fine. I'm sure it will. But that's so exciting, and I mean,
it is.
This is the thing about this festival, isn't it? It's, if you're doing an in-person festival, unless you had millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds and jetted people, which wouldn't fit with the theme of environment, from all over the world, where else are you going to be able to do this? Like, it's fantastic that you're able to bring these fascinating people from literally all over the world to one stage. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant.
I know, and you'll see as well, I think, that you know, we've still kept the digital element to the programme, because for quite a few reasons. One is that we responded to feedback, and we really listened to what the audiences from YFOS 20 and YFOS 21 said that they wanted.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear Sita.
I can.
Well, if you can hear me, can you just check the
Welcome live from the International Space Station overlooking the Amazon. No, just from Grassington, which is a beautiful village on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales. Sita, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's a bit mental here because the rain is really bad. It's very, very rainy, and I suspect that that's having something addressing our internet connections, because that's one of the things is about the internet, of course, is that we are affected by the weather in whatever it is that we're doing, and it just makes us really aware of how important changes in weather are taking place more and more and more as a result of the climate emergency. And so we really need to take care of our planet, which is, of course, the theme of the festival, in order to ensure that we're all, you know, these kind of situations are not going to happen.
Yeah. Sita, we were just talking a little bit about why we'd kept the festival so strongly digital. And I was talking about the fact that, you know, we'd really responded to what audiences said they wanted, and the evaluations that people had put in last time and the time before had been really clear that, you know, they would like to continue with a digital provision. And I was just going to sort of put a shout out to audiences to say, you know, if you do have time after any of the events to fill out the evaluations, that would be amazing, because, you know, we do really listen and we really value people's opinion. So that's why, you know, there's still such a strong element, isn't there? Are there other reasons why you've kept things digital, Sita?
Well, one was about the access thing. That was the key thing, was around access. And it's a way of course, there are environmental impacts when we even use the internet, because, you know, the electricity, et cetera, but one is the environmental impact, but access is really, really key, and it's very convenient in people's lives. And, you know, we've all got much more used to being online now, particularly since the pandemic. And the very fact that I can be here in Grassington and move from one room to another, you know, and actually kind of log in and speak to both of you who are in different, you know, with Charles across the border.
He has admitted that. He's admitted.
How can you do that? And the fact we can still communicate and that we can still have kind of intimate conversations. And I think that's one of the beauties as well that we found, was the intimacy of the kind of conversations that we were having, both through Crowdcast and also on Zoom. And one of the and that's been a big driver in terms of the whole kind of doing things online. Now, one of the things we're exploring much more, of course, this year with being online is, of course, doing that whole hybrid in-person and online experience. And we're trying a number of fancy things. So we've got our first big hybrid event tonight. So there'll be people watching online to the alternative bonfire night, and there'll also be people here in Grassington. There's a workshop taking place in the room at the moment, but then this evening it'll be decked out for our own inside alternative bonfire night. And we've got Gav, who I see is online here at the moment. I'm really looking forward to hearing Gav's wonderful stories from the wilds of Liverpool. And myself and Sarah Smout, who is a Craven-based musician. And so I think it's going to be a fun evening with an awful lot of laughs. So
you've got so many in-person events though as well, haven't you? You've got, and some real sort of crackers. Like I see that Amanda Owen is coming to Skipton, appearing live. She is. I love Amanda Owen, and I know that our audiences love Amanda Owen as well. I remember when she appeared at YFOS. Was it 2 years ago now? It was the first.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Who else have you got?
So we've got Ben Ockery, who's also coming up, and Ben's going to be doing an event in Skipton, and he's also going to be doing a workshop for 10, 12 very, very, very lucky individuals at with Low and Skill Farm. So that is going to be quite an experience. So lots of people have applied for that. There's still time to apply, and then the applications are going to Ben, and they really are going to Ben. He wants to see all the applications before a decision is made, I assure you.
So is it like a writing workshop with?
Yeah, it's a writing workshop called a nature class. And we had a lot of discussion actually about this thing about the title of it. You know, he didn't want it to be like a master class or a workshop, but what he wanted was like looking at and really exploring nature in our writing. And he's going to expect the people who participate in that workshop to really work. And that was one of the things he said to me was, I want people who are going to really work. They're not just going to come here just to say they've done a workshop tick. You know, they're going to have to work.
And
so,
what a magical place to do it. I mean, Lower Winskill has to be one of the most stunning parts of the Yorkshire Dales.
It is.
We all need to apply for that. Lower Winskill in itself, Ben Ockery doing an intimate session. I feel like that's a once in a lifetime almost.
It is a once in a lifetime. It is absolutely a once in a lifetime. And we have had applications from around the country. So people are going to potentially be traveling some distance. And we're going to be sending the applications to Ben in the middle of this week, I think it is. But there's still a bit of time to do that. But you were talking about other in-person events, you know, apart from tonight as well, and Ben coming up and doing an in-person event, Amanda. We've also got Lost and Found with Elizabeth Garner and Patterson and Dip, who are going to be doing music, live music and stories from her new book at the Falcon Manor.
That's going to be a lovely event, actually, because the Falcon Manor is really cozy and it's all, you know, log fires. And I know that they're doing a special supper that night, so you can have, you know, delicious kind of pie and peas supper, and they've got sort of special guest ales on, and then you get to see this kind of storytelling event as well. It's going to be really lovely, that one. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, might have to cross the border then to work for that
be a really nice night.
I think that is going to be quite a lot of fun, that one.
Yeah.
And then of course, Jane, there's that workshop about Letters to the Earth. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, this is amazing, Charles. You're going to love this. So we're working with Letters to the Earth and a theatre director called Kay Michaels. And this emerged from the Extinction Rebellion protests in 2019. And she put something out on Twitter basically saying, you know, why don't you write your letter to the earth? So it could be from a particular species, it could be from a tree, it could anything. Anyway, it really took off, and they had letters from children and young people, but also from amazing writers like Ben Ockery, Joanne Harris, who's a friend of the festival, and she's appearing this year as well. Yoko Ono just like wrote a letter, and they were all compiled into this book called Letters to the Earth, which had a foreword by Dame Emma Thompson. And so the festival coincides with the 3rd anniversary of the book, and they are coming to do a workshop with us in Skipton where they will facilitate up to there's places for up to 100 people to come and, you know, write their letters. And then the really exciting thing is that then we've got an online event towards the end of the festival. Ben is doing his letter. We've also got some pretty extraordinary people lined up in the wings to read their letters and to have new letters as well. But then 5 local people will be able to read their letters online to the rest of the world alongside Ben and these other pretty amazing climate activists as well.
Yeah, and they are. I mean, there are some A-listers in that group, aren't there, Jane?
Yeah, we
unfortunately
can't reveal it just yet because there's lots of negotiations happening in COP. So Kay, who's the leader of Letters to the Earth, she's literally in Egypt where she's delivering these workshops with, you know, presidents and climate envoys and people from around the world, and then she's bringing all that back, sort of, you know, to Skipton. So I'm really excited about that.
That's so exciting. You know what I love about that as well is that it's this combination this year because COVID isn't as big a feature in our lives. But in an event like that, what you're doing is you're profiling rural voices, the local communities in and around Settle and the Dales, to an international audience with YFOS. That's such an exciting opportunity for local people as well.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. And Charles, are you back with us hosting an event this year?
I am, with Joanne Harris.
Nice. Because we've had another children's story festival, haven't we? And she's actually judging the story festival.
Competition, yeah. She has, and so there are 3, 1 first prize, second prize, and third prize, and then 3 lucky runners up, and all 6 have had beautiful personal responses from Joanne, and that's going to all be announced soon. So at your lovely event, Charles, you'll be able to do that with Joanne, and we hope that some of the prize winners will also be there.
Oh, that's so exciting. I mean, I'm looking through the programme and there's so much. I mean, is it over 80 events this time?
Yeah. And one of the exciting things also is the John Buckridge's Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. You know, last year we had the Odyssey, which was fantastic. I was at a completely different event a couple of weeks ago with a Jungian analyst, Muriel McMahon, in fact, who was with us last year's festival. And I was a completely different event talking about, and she was just saying to all of the people at that event, you've got to go to YFOS because it's amazing. And, you know, me and my husband used to sit down every evening, because it was evening for them as opposed to night time. And we'd have dinner and then we'd sit down and listen to the Odyssey. And we're going to be doing that again with this Gawain and the Green Knight. And also in the discussions with Ben, Ben said to me that Gawain and the Green Knight is one of his favorite texts, and is really, really excited to see John's interpretation of it. And it is fabulous. So the first one was on last night, and you can hear that. And that little kind of like this little snippets every night, and every single night he's got this skill that you get to end of it and you go, oh, what's going to happen next? Can't wait.
So it's kind of like the little bit of YFOS book at bedtime experience, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And I've noticed as well, you've got a fabulous bookshop this year.
Yeah. Can I show you the bookshop? So we've got like an online bookshop, and we've also got a live bookshop. So there's going to be a live bookshop here, and I'm just walking.
Oh no, the walking.
Yes.
Don't do the walking.
Who are going to be running the bookshop here today, and I'll just see if I can do something fancy. Or I might have to turn around. Like, can you see? Lovely bookshop. Here's Lucy. Hi. And Creepy. And look, there's wonderful books. And there you see Jane, Letters to the Earth, that we've just been talking about, and a Yorkshire Shepherdess. And so this is the place. And then if you want to develop your writing skills, of course, there's, Joanne Harris's fantastic book. And if anybody who wants to write and wants to develop their writing skills, this is a brilliant book. You need to have it on your bookshelf as a reference. I've got it at home, and it's fantastic. So there's just loads.
Can I, from Lancashire, get these books from here?
Yeah, so I've just put in the chat the link to our bookshop. So at all of our live events, we're going to have a book stall, and which Lucy is looking after. And then, when there's authors there, there'll be the opportunity for signings as well. So you can have your book inscribed and personalised by Amanda Owen or Ben Ockery. But that we've got exclusive offers on the bookshop. You just need to click on the link in the chat or go to the YFOS website, and there's a link through there. And all the books have got a discount on them. So so it's a really great thing this year. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. I'll definitely have a look at that. And I mean, I've noticed one of the other things that's brilliant again is that you've managed to keep the festival free this year, which I guess is so important, and especially now when everyone is kind of feeling the pinch. But I know from being behind the scenes at Settle Stories and YFOS how much we really do rely on donations. So can I still donate if I want to?
You absolutely can. And you're right, Charles. It's been so important for us to continue to keep the festival free and accessible, particularly at the moment with the cost of living crisis. We know that times are really tough for people, and we want to create this space where people can come together. We've had Arts Council funding this year, which has been brilliant. We've got an amazing new partner, Comply Direct, who are an environmental consultancy based in the Yorkshire Dales. And actually, they've contributed £8,000 towards our donations target, which we're really, really grateful for. So that's fantastic. So, last year and every year we've had a target of about £16,000. And we're already halfway there because of the generosity of Comply Direct. But in order to make sure that we keep the festival accessible to everybody, no matter what their situation, we do still need to raise the rest of that money. So if anybody is out there and can make even a small donation, we'd be incredibly grateful. And there's a link to the online donation here at the bottom of Crowdcast. But also this year, what we're doing is we're using text donations. So it's really easy. So Charles, what you could do is you get your mobile phone out right now, and then you could text YFOS 10 to 70450 to donate £10 or whatever you can afford. So you just change the number at that YFOS to whatever it is that you can afford. And then those texts cost a standard network cost and your donation. There's a link down below, and if you can help, that's amazing. But if you can't, don't worry, we're all here together, and that's the thing that we really want. We want the festival to be accessible to everyone.
Yeah, well, I definitely will donate, and I love the approach that that we've had and that you've still got with donations. Is no pressure if you can't, and we know that there's a cost of living crisis, but the reality is that amazing things like this, things that nourish our souls, and also thousands of children's souls across the country, like we do. Really rely on donations. So I will definitely chipping in, and I hope that if people can, they do as well.
Thank you, Charles. That's really greatly appreciated. And what we've said is that if we get more than the target, then we're going to use that surplus to continue our work with Stories for Schools and try and make sure that, you know, we're getting into as many schools for as low cost or for as free as possible. So, yeah. So, Charles, it's been so brilliant to see you. Thank you so much for joining us in our first festival living room and being our special guest. We're really looking forward to seeing you for Joanne Harris as well. But, you know, if you can sort of come along to any of the other events, we'd be delighted to have you here. Sita, we probably better leave you now to go and finish setting up for the workshop.
I do. I need to kind of rush off now, but thank you, everybody. And it's so fantastic to see you all. And the next event, our lantern making workshop, is starting in 1 minute. So I'm going to head off to that. Okay.
Right.
See you then, folks. Thank you.
See you very soon. Bye.